In early 2024, Professor Zhang issued a series of specific geopolitical forecasts. He predicted Donald Trump would return to the White House, initiate a direct war with Iran, and oversee a catastrophic American defeat. The prediction raises a difficult question. How does a heavily sanctioned regional power manage to overcome the most expensive and technologically advanced military in history? The American military-industrial complex remains optimized for the heavy metal muscle flexing of the Cold War. It prioritizes expensive, high-tech platforms that are poorly suited for the realities of 21st-century attrition. Iran, meanwhile, spent 2 decades refining a strategy of asymmetric mobilization. They integrated a vast network of proxies, from Hezbollah to the Houthis, into a unified regional front designed to exploit American doctrinal weaknesses. The U.S. is engaging in a conflict where its traditional strengths are irrelevant, entering a modern trap with a toolkit built for a different century. High-ranking military officials, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, warned that this war was a strategic mistake. Despite those warnings, the commander-in-chief moved forward. Massive financial incentives shaped this decision. Billions of dollars in private equity from Saudi and Israeli interests flowed into the president's inner circle, creating a clear link between foreign policy and private wealth. Domestic political survival played a role as well. A state of war allows a president to claim emergency powers, providing a potential path to delay elections and bypass constitutional term limits. Beyond politics and money, there is an eschatological component. Influential factions within elite secret societies, including groups like the Jesuits and Freemasons, view Middle Eastern conflict as a script for the end times. In this environment, basic military strategy was discarded in favor of personal ambition, financial kickbacks, and apocalyptic ideology. The physical conflict is playing out almost entirely in the sky, a departure from the ground troop heavy invasions of previous decades. This visualization highlights the cost disparity. Iran deploys drones costing $50,000, while the U.S. relies on interceptors costing tens of millions per launch. This math forces the U.S. to cannibalize munition stocks, rapidly depleting finite global reserves to zero. The sheer volume of incoming threats renders high-cost defense systems statistically useless. Reports from the field show as many as 11 interceptors being fired at a single Iranian missile, and still missing. America is being systematically bankrupted by the mathematical reality of its own defense systems, proving that technological complexity is a liability in a war of attrition. Iran's primary objective isn't the destruction of the U.S. military. They are targeting the infrastructure of the regional states that anchor the global economic order. The strategy focuses on the Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC, a bloc of nations including Saudi Arabia and the UAE, essential to global energy markets. The targets are water desalination plants. In a region with almost no fresh water, these industrial facilities are the only thing keeping the population alive. These plants provide 60% of the GCC's water. If a single drone strike takes out a facility in a city like Riyadh, a population of 10 million people would run out of water in just 2 weeks. By holding the biological survival of these nations hostage, Iran creates an immediate existential crisis for America's primary regional allies. A regional water shortage in Saudi Arabia has a direct, catastrophic impact on the American economy. This is the foundation of the petrodollar. Gulf nations maintain the value of the U.S. dollar by selling their oil exclusively in that currency, ensuring global demand for American debt. Gulf nations recycle oil profits directly into the U.S. stock market, fueling the explosion in AI. When they stop selling oil to focus on internal survival, that investment pipeline severs. The American economy loses the liquidity required to stay afloat. The collapse of this capital recycling system exposes the American economy as a financially fragile structure that cannot survive without a constant influx of foreign energy profits. This economic erosion is already visible. Recent strikes on data centers in the UAE are forcing tech giants to reconsider their presence in the region, signaling the start of a massive capital flight. The United States now faces an impossible choice: launch a massive ground invasion to protect its allies' infrastructure, or watch the dollar system disintegrate. Historically, air power alone has never forced a regime to collapse. Yet a ground invasion of Iran would be an unparalleled military disaster that the American public is completely unwilling to support. The aura of invincibility that has sustained American hegemony since the end of the Cold War has been punctured, revealing the limits of its power and its currency. A multipolar world emerges from the wreckage of the U.S. financial system, concluding this conflict through the hard reality of economic exhaustion rather than the formality of a peace treaty.